cat on the set.
This is Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the October 18th, 2016 edition of the Weekly Podioplex. Brought to you on the Chronic Riff Network. This week's birthdays include Angela Lansbury, Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast, and Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote. Felicity Jones, Jyn Erso from the upcoming Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Dawn Wells, Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island. Michael Gambon, the second Dumbledore from the Harry Potter series. Viggo Mortensen from The Lord of the Rings. Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia from 4 of the Star Wars films. And Christopher Lloyd, Back to the Future's Doc Brown and Star Trek III's Commander Cruz. Starting the box office report, 2 newcomers did well, but one stumbled hard. And that one, just outside the top 10 at number 11, is new release Max Steel, debuting to $2.2 million. That's the 13th worst opening for a wide release spanning over 2,000 theaters. Audiences gave it a B cinema score, but critics gave it a big fat 0. At number 10 is The Birth of a Nation, down 4 from 6th. At number 9 is Sully, down 1 from 8th. At 8 is Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life, down 1 from 7th. And with a drop of only 37% from premiere, it obviously got a huge bump from Max Steel. In 7th is The Magnificent Seven, down 3 from 4th. And finishing out this week's bottom 5 is Storks, down 1 from 5th. The top 5 this week begin with Deepwater Horizon, down 2 from 3rd with $6.4 million, added to a total of $49.4 million. In 4th place is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, down 2 from 2nd with $9 million, added to a total of $65.9 million. In 3rd place is new release Kevin Hart, What Now?, debuting to $11.8 million. That's the largest opening ever for a stand-up comedy film, beating the original Kings of Comedy from 2000. This third and reportedly final comedy concert for the star was also the best reviewed of his series, earning a 78% approval rating from critics. Audiences were also impressed, offering an A- from mostly female audiences. In 2nd is last week's winner, The Girl on the Train, adding $12.2 million to a total of $46.8 million. And winning 1st this week is new release The Accountant, adding up $24.7 million. That's well ahead of expectations, and even with comparable box office takes, it's a better success story than last week's number 1. The Girl on the Train was not well received, but The Accountant earned an A- cinema score and 51% critical approval. That critical score doesn't sound like much, but The Girl on the Train got a 43%, and audience word of mouth could be pretty powerful. Bouncing The Accountant off of other Ben Affleck hits, it opened higher than both Argo and The Town, but comes in 8th across his career accounting for inflation. If you don't count the Batman vs. Superman Juggernaut, then it's 7th. The big test will be how The Accountant fares against the Jack Reacher sequel, which will play to a similar audience this week. Let's close out the box office report with a look at what was winning in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2011, Paranormal Activity 3 took number 1 with $52.6 million. Paranormal Activity 3 broke Paranormal Activity 2's record for the highest weekend debut for a horror film. It also broke Jackass 3D's record for the highest weekend debut in October and for any fall release. 10 years ago in 2006, The Prestige won the weekend with $14.8 million. 20 years ago in 1996, Sleepers was the winner with $12.3 million. 30 years ago in 1986, Crocodile Dundee took the title for a 4th week with $7.4 million. And 40 years ago, in 1976, Marathon Man took the box office crown for a 2nd week with $4 million. The box office premieres for October 21st are mostly sequels. Starting with this week's headliner, Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. A crime thriller starring Tom Cruise, Kobe Smulders, and Robert Knepper.
How long are we supposed to do this? I'm getting hungry.
Just be patient.
Hey, where'd he go? You're supposed to be watching him.
What do you think? I've got eyes in the back of my head. How's it going? Don't. Show me. Throw him back. I don't like being followed.
Jack Reacher must uncover the truth behind a major government conspiracy in order to clear his name. On the run as a fugitive from the law, Reacher uncovers a potential secret from his past that could change his life forever. Jack Reacher, Never Go Back is rated PG-13. The second title is Ouija, Origin of Evil, a horror thriller starring Lynn Shay, Doug Jones, and Annalise Basso.
Check out the freak. She's so weird. Oh, what are you doing? Hey, keep an eye out. What are you doing? I'm not doing it. Stop it! Stop it, Jack!
In 1967 Los Angeles, a widowed mother and her two daughters add a new stunt to bolster their seance scam business and unwittingly invite authentic evil into their home. When the youngest daughter is overtaken by a merciless spirit, the family confronts unthinkable fears to save her and send her possessor back to the other side. Ouija, Origin of Evil is rated PG-13. The third wide release is the only original title this week, and that's Keeping Up with the Joneses, an action comedy starring Gal Gadot, Isla Fisher, and Zach Galifianakis.
Gaffney, you ready for level 4 security clearance?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Carl.
Yeah.
Got like a red dot on your forehead.
Yeah, it's called adult acne. Thank you very much. I'm in a hit! I'm in a hit! I'm in a hit!
Are you hurt?
I've been shot. Oh, God. No, honey, it's just a latte.
It burns, it burns.
It's a Joneses! Let's run for Carl's house. Oh, God!
When I get killed out here, get in the car.
Why, so you can kill us in there?
I said, get in the car.
We're gonna get in the car.
Guys, now.
When I count to 3, we're gonna run, okay? 1, 2.
Jeff!
Oh my
I
God.
said 3!
Jeff, please, would you just get in the car? I was making a head start.
On your wife?
A suburban couple becomes embroiled in an international espionage plot when they discover that their seemingly perfect new neighbors are actually government spies. Keeping Up with the Joneses is rated PG-13. And the last wide release this week is Boo, A Medea Halloween, a comedy starring Tyler Perry, Cassie Davis, and Patrice Lovely.
Got all these crazy looking costumes and everything. Ain't nothing up here. Damn clown was back there. I know the damn clown did not just move from where it was.
Medea winds up in the middle of mayhem when she spends a haunted Halloween fending off killers, paranormal poltergeists, ghosts, ghouls, and zombies while keeping a watchful eye on a group of misbehaving teens. Boo! A Medea Halloween is rated PG-13. There are also 6 titles on this week's limited slate, and you can find those in the show notes. Next up is a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of October 18th, and it is a short one. We'll begin with new release on DVD and Blu-ray, and that list has one title. That's Independence Day, Resurgence, an action-adventure film starring Liam Hemsworth, Jeff Goldblum, and Jesse T. Usher. 2 decades after the first Independence Day invasion, Earth is faced with a new extrasolar threat. But will mankind's new space defenses be enough? Independence Day Resurgence is rated PG-13. Dropping by new releases on digital video, I have 2 titles there. The first is Alice Through the Looking Glass, a fantasy adventure film starring Mia Wasikowska, Johnny Depp, and Anne Hathaway. Alice returns to the whimsical world of Underland and travels back in time to save the Mad Hatter. Alice Through the Looking Glass is rated PG. The other one is Bad Moms, a comedy starring Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Lily Singh. A woman with a seemingly perfect life, a great marriage, overachieving kids, beautiful home, stunning looks, and still holding down a career. However, she's overworked, overcommitted, and exhausted to the point where she's about to snap. Fed up, she joins forces with two other overstressed moms, and all of them go on a quest to liberate themselves from conventional responsibilities, going on a wild, unmom-like binge of freedom, fun, and self-indulgence, putting them on a collision course with PTA Queen Bee Gwendolyn and her clique of devoted, perfect moms. Bad Moms is rated R. Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, we start things there with a title that I've been anxiously anticipating, but kind of sprung out of nowhere on their release calendar. That's Downton Abbey, the complete series, spanning 2010 to 2015 and starring Hugh Bonneville, Elizabeth McGovern, and Dame Maggie Smith. Downton Abbey made television history when it originally aired on Masterpiece in January 2011. It became the highest-rated drama on PBS, boasting millions of viewers tuning in each Sunday to watch the Crawley family and those that served them. Fans of the series became hooked, watching the splendor, romance, desire, and heartbreak, scandal, and rumor that flourished both upstairs and downstairs. Led by Hugh Bonneville, Elizabeth McGovern, Michelle Dockery, and Dame Maggie Smith, the acclaimed ensemble cast brings to life all the drama and intrigue of the inhabitants of Downton Abbey, the lavish English country manor home to the Earl of Grantham. This complete collection set, available just in time for the holidays, includes all 52 episodes of the series of this Golden Globe, SAG, and multi-Emmy award-winning series, following the Crawley family and their servants through all the years of drama that Downton Abbey viewers across the globe have grown to love. The second TV title is Teen Wolf, Season 5, Part 2 from 2016, starring Tyler Posey, Dylan O'Brien, and Holland Roden. The pack is getting back together for even more supernatural, heart-pounding adventures in Teen Wolf Season 5, Part 2. Reeling from crushing losses, Scott struggles to put his pack back together, while the Dread Doctor's final creation, a creature known as the Beast, terrorizes Beacon Hills. And the final TV title this week is Bates Motel, Season 4 from 2015, starring Freddie Highmore, Vera Farmiga, and Max Thoreau. As Norman continues to spiral out of control, Norma's desperation to help her son amplifies. Growing increasingly fearful of him, Norma goes to great lengths to find Norman the professional help he needs. This further complicates their once unbreakable trust, while Norman struggles to maintain his grip on reality. As Sheriff Romero finds himself drawn back into their lives, he must ask himself just how much further he is willing to go to protect Norma. And I'll wrap up the home entertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past, and this week I bring you two titles. The first is A Laughing Policeman, a drama thriller film from 1973 starring Walter Matthau, Bruce Dern, and Louis Gossett Jr. In San Francisco, one victim in a mass murder is a police detective. His partner and a new partner investigate in the city's seamy side. The Laughing Policeman is rated R. The other title is Child's Play, a horror film from 1988 starring Catherine Hicks, Chris Sarandon, and Alex Vincent. Police shoot and kill a convicted strangler after cornering him in a toy store. As the man is dying, he transfers his soul into a doll, spawning years and years and years of fear in kids of those lifelike child-sized dolls. Child's Play is rated R. After this brief break for about a shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will continue.
And welcome back to the Weekly Podioplex. I'm Denise with your Quick Flicks. Before we get started, go watch the final Rogue One trailer. No, it's alright. I'll wait. Back? Did you squee? I know you squeed. I squeed at dark 30 this morning and flailed my arms around. Luckily, I was alone in my office. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, hits theaters December 16th. And again, I promised my mother I wouldn't go see it without her. Life choices, you guys. I'm regretting them. In Marvel news, Doctor Strange's director Scott Derrickson insisted to THR the role of the Ancient One was written specifically for Tilda Swinton, even going as far as to suggest the role would have been rewritten if she had not taken the part. Looking at Marvel movies, Derrickson said, I think that we're missing a major character that is Tilda's age and has this kind of strength and power. He also expanded on why they decided to take the character a different direction, saying, the Ancient One in the comics is a very old American stereotype of what Eastern characters and people are like, and I feel very strongly that we need to avoid those stereotypes at all costs. Swinton, too, has had much to say about the role, previously stating, I wasn't asked to play an Asian character. You can be very well assured of that. Despite the controversy surrounding the whitewashing of an Asian role, Marvel is at least being thoughtful of how real-life cultures are represented in their movie universe. For all those concerned about Marvel editing their source material all willy-nilly, and for all those who are concerned, keep in mind when the source material was written and the culture surrounding said writing, Doctor Strange himself, actor Benedict Cumberbatch, would like to assure you that that is most definitely not the case. Thankfully, we have a studio boss who is also a massive fanboy. There is nothing Kevin Feige does not know about the original comics, so together with the rest of his team, it's done out of love, and there is a huge amount of respect for detail. Good to know. Doctor Strange hits theaters November 4th. Life choices, you guys. Seriously. In other Doctor Strange news, EW has recently reviewed an interview with Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige, where the status of Rachel McAdams' role was discussed. The role being Christine Palmer and her place in the MCU. Hint, it's not Night Nurse. Not right now, anyway. Feige had this to say, I will say that the storyline does not play into the movie. It's just as much fun for us as it is for the fans to speculate about that. Currently, McAdams has not had a prominent showing in any of the Doctor Strange marketing thus far, so she could have a smaller role than some fans might be expecting. This isn't to say her role is insignificant toward the plot, but maybe she won't be Night Nurse. Though she might be in the sequel. However, considering Rosario Dawson's character Claire Temple has been featured prominently in Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and there's no reason to expect she won't have a recurring role in the Iron Fist. And considering my fellow podcaster Sherry Sondheimer over at Last Chance Salon has pretty much fixed her in as night nurse, maybe Netflix should just go ahead and give Claire that mantle. She's connecting the Defenders together in terms of continuity. The mantle makes sense. In my head, anyway. Having a movie nurse take up the name to follow along with the comics just doesn't seem like something Marvel would do. Or maybe they would. We'll have to wait and see. In other Disney news, it looks like Don Quixote is getting some big screen time. The ingenious gentleman Don Quixote of La Mancha was originally published in Spain in the early 1600s and is considered one of the founding works of modern Western literature. That there hasn't been any noteworthy major motion pictures adaptations is just, it's weird. Considering the movies which have come out recently, you'd figure Don Quixote would be somewhere on the list. Or is that just me? That isn't to say the movie hasn't been attempted. Terry Gilliam tried in 1998, only to stumble over well-documented false starts. The most recent of setbacks occurred earlier this month when funding fell through again. In 2010, Warner Brothers and producer Joel Silver announced their intentions to launch a Don Quixote movie as a Pirates of the Caribbean-style, dear Jesus, no, swashbuckling version of the story. In 2012, Disney followed suit with the announcement of an intended Johnny Depp produced iteration. None of those iterations ever saw the light of day. Thank God. In a strange turn of events, THR has reported that Disney has once again announced its intention to create an adaptation of Don Quixote with a tone that recalls the madcap and fantastical nature of Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean movies. No. Just no. No. There's no word yet on whether Johnny Depp is still attached as producer, but they have announced the involvement of Hunger Games screenwriter Billy Ray. At least it won't come as a nasty surprise when they write in a 30-something white guy as the lead actor. Here's looking at you, Disney's live-action remake of Mulan. In other news, a War of the Worlds television show is in the works at MTV. Now, if you haven't listened to Orson Welles' reading of the classic H.G. Wells novel, you really should get yourself onto the Google and find it. I think it's actually available in the public domain. I'm pretty sure the British Library has it online, and I know iTunes charges a damn arm and a leg, but that's beside the point. The reading is absolutely wonderful. In fact, I think Sirius Radio did a thing on it not too long ago. Might have been on a road trip, but it was amazing. And the Tom Cruise movie wasn't too bad either, and I am not too terribly fond of Mr. Cruise. Anyway, with such series as Colony and The Return of the X-Files, and let me tell you, the first 3 episodes are totally worth it, but you just might as well skip the Latch Bunch, because they're just dumb. It seems that MTV wants to try its hand at science fiction. According to Deadline, MTV has begun developing a new TV series based on the classic 1898 novel. The series will have a contemporary setting and is being written by Andrew Cochran, whose previous writing duties included the Teen Wolf of the MTV variety. At present, there is no word on when exactly the series is expected to air or how true to the original novel the series will be. Personally, I wish Netflix would have taken on the adaptation, but it will be interesting to see what MTV does with it. Now, if only someone would take on The Shadow, then I'd be a happy camper. And finally, UK anime fans will be happy to know the original Ghost in the Shell will be returning to cinemas in January. For those unfamiliar, Ghost in the Shell is one of the most protected works in the anime lexicon. The beautifully animated film starring a futuristic cyborg cop named Motoko Major Kusanagi spawned such movies as The Matrix and Avatar. These same fans are hesitant to accept the whitewashing of an Asian role. The infamous 2009 adaptation of Dragon Ball Evolution is one such example. Heavily panned by critics and fans alike, studios kept plugging away at casting white actors. The upcoming Ghost in the Shell live-action adaptation is case in point by the casting of Scarlett Johansson. And this has nothing against Scarlett Johansson. Personally, I like her as an actress, but I am one of those people protective of Ghost in the Shell. If you haven't seen the original movie, I highly recommend it. It's 20 years old, but still holds up. Those longing for a big screen viewing will have to get themselves a plane ticket across the pond. Manga Entertainment LLC, a producer and distributor of Japanese animated work in the US and UK, has announced The Ghost in the Shell 1995 will reappear on screens across the UK early next year. This announcement follows the company's successful 25th anniversary Akira screenings earlier this fall. I personally recommend seeing the original Ghost in the Shell. It's one of the first anime movies I watched as a teenager, and though I'm not much into anime anymore, because I'm an animation student and college ruins everything, the movie still holds a special place in my heart and on my Apple TV. And that's it for this week's Quick Flicks. I'm Denise, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Denise. With that, we come to the end of this week's edition of the Weekly Podioplex. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to the brand new homepage at chronicrift.com and leave an audio message right there on the website using your microphone, or you can write to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com. Of course, you can still tweet us on Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith. And I am Womprat99, like the creature Luke would bullseye in his T-16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronic Rift a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what other shows the Chronic Rift Network has to offer. The main show is offered weekly with the Rift regulars, and you can listen live on YouTube or download the episode later in the feed. We also have Cyborgs, a Bionic podcast, the Batcave podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Generations Geek, presenting the transcription feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, and so much more. Check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who for the first time from the very beginning of the franchise, and reviewing those stories in the Timestamps Project. Right now, the blog is in the middle of the 14th season with the adventures of the 4th Doctor. In fact, we just saw the Robots of Death. And the link to those reviews can be found in the show notes. You can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as a cover designer. Check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make to that store supports the Chronic Rift Network. Your support keeps us on the air, and we appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets and the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures in drama, comedy, and action, worlds to explore in the depths of film. Get some popcorn, find your favorite seat, and I'll see you at the theater.